Alright, test fill has started. The moment of truth for any DIY aquarium builder. This is a lot of things in life. There's not always a test of whether you did it right or not, but when you build an aquarium, you definitely get tested. So either the water's going to stay in here or it's going to end up on the floor. So I'm going to keep track of this, and as it progresses, I'll take a little more footage and you know, cross your fingers and toes. Hopefully this bad boy is going to pass the fill test and we can get it going. Alright, as you can see, the tank is full of water, almost all the way to the top. If you remember, I have the drains over there, so it can't go all the way up, but it has been holding water for 5 days, so I'm going to call that the end of the water test. And so the next step would be to drain all this out of here, and as you can see, have the top brace is on. So drain all this water out of here, and I've been making new salt water. It's so crazy. Like, not that long ago, I had an email from Live Aquarium. It was like 30% off salt, and I was like, oh, I got, let's see, 3-4 buckets of salt. I don't need any salt. And then I'm starting to make salt for the 600 gallon, and I'm looking at it, see 160 a bucket, 4 buckets. Man, all my salt's gone after I make this salt. So I had to order some at full price. But I guess the the thing to do is, if there's a good sale on something, pick it up whether you think you need it or not, I guess. But at any rate, as you can see, little bubbles on the inside, but it held. It's all good. It's braced. I'm not 100% done yet, but I've made some serious progress on the plumbing over there. Have all the drains plumbed in and working on the return. Return for both the 265 and the 600. So, like I was saying, the next steps are going to be to drain out the water in the 600 and start getting the substrate in there, and then start introducing some of the salt water that I've already got pre-mixed and start making some more salt water, so that I can begin moving base rock over from the current sump. Oh yeah, as you can see, I've also got some of the lighting in place for the new 700 gallon Refugium. Again, work in progress as well. I'm waiting on a light, I'm waiting on a power strip with a timer and a few other things, but it is definitely coming together, and we are gonna start to have something that really looks like an aquarium pretty soon. Alright, a completed 600 gallon. As you can tell, it passed the water test. It held some fresh water for 5 days, and then I went ahead and drained it out. So we have a fully functioning 600 gallon that needs a little fine-tuning on the drain, kind of getting a surge effect going with the gurgling sound. You gotta remember, this will be behind a wall. It'll be in wall, and you'll go around the side there to maintain it, but I still think it's a little loud with that drain, so I have to get that worked out. But for now, kind of just having it running open top as I'm still working on it. Obviously, I need to escape it, but let's bring you up to speed with the completion of the 600 gallon build. So once we passed the water test, we went ahead and added the center brace. So we have a 2x6 center brace with 3 lag bolts on each side, so that gives us plenty of stability holding the tank. And as you can see from the top, we went ahead and added the wave maker, and we completed all the plumbing. So the return and 2 drains, 2 noisy drains right now, but we'll get that worked out. And as you can see, it is all tied into the single, what used to be a 700 gallon sump, but is now a Refugium. And then of course the 265. So it was a little tricky because ripping out the old plumbing, or the old pump, I had to add a new pump that was feeding both tanks at the same time. So my original plans to escape part of the 600 gallon when the water was lower and then make more salt water and add it in, it was just too tricky to do because I'm not set up to necessarily make batches of 600 gallons of water, so I'd have to make smaller batches. I'd be in there stirring it up, and then it would all drain back into here, which is a functioning system with fish running and everything. So I thought, well, I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet, and I'm gonna have to fill the tank all the way up, and then work with my buddy to move over the live rock from the sump and some from the 265, and then build up the reef of the 600 gallon that way. But in terms of a DIY build, this is completed. We have the lighting, the heating is all coming from the sump. We have the water movement. We have, again, the noisy drains. I gotta get that worked out sooner or later. It's gonna drive me crazy. And a big 4-foot tall tank that holds water. And in my opinion, pretty excited about. So call 6 feet long, 4 feet front to back, and 4 feet tall. Also, like I had mentioned a few times already, but the tank will be in wall, so you'll have a wall coming up here, and there'll be a panel to access it, just like on the 3,000 gallon. But you won't see any of that. That's why I have this walkway to go around back behind the tanks to service the tanks. And of course, I will get the walkway painted and get it trimmed off level with the tank. But yeah, that is the 600 gallon build. So here's the tank fully functioning and running, and next step is to start aquascaping this bad boy, which is going to be no small feat. Climbing in there and working. It's a lot easier to aquascape a tank when you can sort of lean over and look in from the front and see how your scape works. Actually having to be in the tank and being tall enough that I'm going to have to put a mask on, you know, a scuba mask to be able to look down into the water to place all the rocks and everything. It's going to be tricky. I'm definitely going to have to get my buddy to help me out and hand me stuff so I don't have to keep getting in and out of the tank. But pretty excited. It is definitely a cool tank. It's not something, like I said, it's a shape I've never had before. It's, you know, shorter, but it's chunky, you know, front to back in height. And I'm really looking forward to getting some livestock in here. And if you have caught making the 1,500 gallon system, you'll see the livestock that's going to go into this aquarium. Okay, I couldn't end this video without fixing the noisy drain and showing you what I did, and more importantly, letting you hear what I did. So let's go underneath the water line, and as you see there, I've drilled 2 holes in the front of the strainer covers, and I've added 2 airline hoses. I'll take you around the back. And right now, so the airline hoses are just going into the front on each one, and they're just hanging out here sucking air. I will get something to clip these down and trim it up, make it nicer looking, but that's all it takes, is just allowing some air to be sucked through there so that as the water moves through the pipe, it doesn't kind of fill up and then suck a tiny bit of air at the top and create that gurgling and that surge effect. So by more or less the water moving through the pipe injects or sucks air into the pipe, and that gives us enough air moving through there to keep the water flowing through and keeping it quiet. So we don't get the surge effect down here in the Refugium. We don't get the nasty gurgling up here in the aquarium, and more importantly, it's not loud, and it's not obnoxiously loud like it was before. But all right, like I said, I couldn't end the video without injecting that in there, just showing you that that's corrected, and make sure you know that in future videos on the 600 gallon, you won't have to endure listening to a gurgling overflow. Okay, so the 1,500 gallon system is completed. We have both tanks. We have the new tank built. We have both tanks plumbed into the new equipment, the new pump, the new heaters. We got lighting on the 600 gallon, and everything is good to go. I was hoping to get all the live rock moved over from the Refugium and from the 265 to 600 and get all the rescaping done for this video, but it just turned out to be more work than I anticipated. There was a lot of things I had to do. Finishing the aquarium and mounting the lights up underneath the 265 for the Refugium and swapping out lights with other tanks, and it just ended up being a little more than I expected. But we will, next time we see this tank, we definitely will have the 265 completely rescaped, possibly even some new fish. The 600 gallon will be fully scaped, possibly with some new fish. And also the Refugium will be, again, rescaped, and we'll try to get the critters going in there and the macroalgae. Swapping things around, though, and having the 600 gallon be the predator tank is going to allow me to do more than I was able to do with the 265. The 265 couldn't hold some of the fish I wanted. The 600 can, so that's really going to open that up. And I think removing 30% of the rock in the 265 is going to allow me to set that up like the type of Fowler tank I actually really want it to be. Again, with both the tanks, we'll try to grow as many corals, really easy corals as we can, just to make the environment look as natural as possible. But unlike the 150 where the tank is geared for corals, the 265 is a Fowler, and the 600 gallon is a predatory salt tank. I appreciate you hanging to the end, and I'm going to throw in a little bit of footage of a new fish for the 3,000 gallon Amazon tank. So if you're interested in that, here it is.